Hi everyone. I was when I did that video, the one that talked about what you could do with looms. If you ever wondered what you could do with looms, the ideas behind it. One of the items that I had featured in that video was this shrug, and in the comment section, someone had come and asked me how one does this shrug. So I thought, I would do this video, show you how to do this shrug. Actually, this pattern is from Lion brand. Their pattern, I think it's called Harvest Shrug. There are several lengths to this. Now the pattern, this particular pattern, the overall length is 36 by 44, and then you fold it to get 22 by 36. Now this part of it will decide across the shoulders. This is across the shoulders, this 36, and this part here will determine how long the shrug will be, the length of your shrug, how whether it's going to be to your waist or your hip. So if you want a shorter shrug, this is the part that you got to reduce the length, and this is of course across your shoulders. It'll come all the way halfway down your arm, and I think below your elbows almost. If you look at the picture that the video that I did just now, you can see where it goes. Now basically what you do is that you take the long loom, the one that is the 62 peg loom, which gives you a 22-inch panel. You work it for 36 inches. So you will have one panel of 36 by 22. You do two panels, 36 by 22, 36 by 22. Then along the 36, you place both the panels along the 36 and you join them on one side, the 36-inch side. So you will now have a 36 by 44-inch rectangle. Now with that rectangle, you sew up the sides from where the opening is here. You sew up the side all the way. Here is the part that you folded, the part that you joined is here. As you can see here, this is the join. And you leave an opening of 7 inches on both sides. Another one also on this side, So you will have two 7-inch gaps. This will be where you put your arms through. So when you wear the shrug, it will be like this. So this part of the shrug, where you join, will come halfway at the back, as you saw earlier, So this is the 22-inch here and another 22 inches this way. See, so when you make this shrug, if you're going to use the long loom and not a Cindy loom or a Serenity loom or the Afghan loom, where you can actually do a 44-inch without having to join, 44 by 36, if you intend to do a join like this one I actually joined by single crochet, If you were to use the mattress stitch, I think it is possible you can actually get an invisible seam, My seam is apparent, but because I had used dual colors, that is two colors, I used a yellow and a gray. The yellow is mohair, the hair, the wool that you get, the yarn that you get from the Angora goat or Angora rabbit, you get mohair. Mohair is, how it gets everywhere actually when you do this, it'll get on everything that you wear will have a bit of the thing comes off, as you wear, but it's really nice to wear, mohair, and it's really warm, this one. And so I used two strands on the long loom, the 22-inch loom, which is the 62 peg loom, and that's all I did. I cast on and I worked it in twisted stocking net stitch with no other stitches, I didn't do anything else, and then I just joined the panels up, Now, the thing I wanted to tell you is that if possible, don't use a single color yarn for this project, The reason why you shouldn't use a single color is because of this join. If you use a single color, it will become very, very apparent, and because it is in an odd position, as you saw in the video, and you can see that it's halfway behind your back, So it will look really obvious if you used one color, a solid color, you know. Preferably, you should use variegated yarn. Variegated yarn, because the color changes as you work the piece, you will actually have a shrug that will not perhaps show this line at all, you know. Or you use the mattress stitch and perhaps do a better join than I did. And the other thing is that if you have the Cindy loom, Serenity loom or Afghan loom, you can do it and it will have no seams at all. The only seam will be at the side, which was this seam. This is not at all noticeable at all, the side seams, you know. The side seams are not at all noticeable. It was only the part where I joined here that I didn't do a terribly good job. Anyway, hopefully you do a better job than I did on this, you know. And so, remember what I said. The part that determines the length of your sweater, the length of your shrug, not your sweater. The length of the shrug is this part here, you know, the 22 inch, which is 44 inches. This will determine the length, how far down the back it goes, you know, your hips or your waist. And this part here is across your shoulders. So it's 36 by 44. The one that you saw me wearing is this one that I made here, you know. And that's it. I hope that you enjoy making this. And if you have any questions, drop them down in the comment section. And this one was, I think, 4 millimeter. So that's 2 strands of 3.5 to 4 millimeter crochet hook knitting needle yarn. And long loom. I did not try this on the round loom simply because I needed 22 inches, you know, and the round loom, even the largest one, the 41 peg, can only manage up to 19 inches, 18 or 19 inches. 19, if you're very lucky, if your yarn is quite bulky, you can perhaps manage 19 inches. But if you don't really have a very bulky yarn, you would probably only get about 18 inches. And 18 inches, you'll have a short shrug, you know. Well, if you're happy with a shrug that comes right up to maybe above your waist, then you could try that on the round loom, you know. But you have to work 36 inches across your shoulders so that the sleeves, you know, it'll have the sleeves, because here this part, when this one comes down, it goes all the way down to half the way of your arm, you know. So you need to have that 36 inches across the shoulders for it to droop like that, you know. Now the other thing I'd forgotten almost to mention when I was doing this is that I didn't finish this part, you know. You see it's curling, right? Like it always does when you work on the loom. This part of it curls, right? I didn't do any pearl stitches at the end. But as you notice, when I showed you the thing, this curl actually works to the advantage of the shrug, you know. It forms like a very nice front, you know, the way that it curls inward like that, you know. So that was a happy mistake, so to speak. So if you try this out, you can try whatever colors that you want. I bet you can do some really nice shades, and I think it's a relatively simple project, you know. So if this is the first time you've ever worked on a loom, this might be the perfect project for you to start on. Happy looming! Actually, this is the yarn, the Mohair. I thought you might want to have a look at it. This is the Mohair yarn. It is actually, where is it written? Yeah, there it is. 35% mohair, 45% wool, and 20% acrylic. It uses 3.5 to 4.5 knitting needles. You know, because although the yarn itself is extremely fine, it uses rather big needles, you know, because it's of the fact that it's very fluffy, you know. And this one was very, very long. See, it's 146.82 yards, 136 meters you can get, you know, out of this 50 gram. I remember I didn't use a hell of a lot of this when I did the piece, you know. I think I used more balls of the grey than I did of the yellow, you know, because the yellow was very long. I think I may have used maybe 14, 15 balls of yarn. So I thought, you know, you might want to have a look at that.